Hey everyone, let's see if I can get that to stay. Hello. So we had technical difficulties. Try doing this from the page that was just created, and man, it did not work. So we thought we'd come and do it from the timeline and see if we can do split screen, and I bet already that we can because invite. Let's see. So Morgan Cullen is going to join us. Hey Ashley. Awesome. I'm getting an invite from Morgan. I can't believe this is going to work. This is awesome, Morgan. All right. I think we got it working. Hey, Linda. Hi, Emily. Good to see you guys. Hey, Kendall. Good to see you.
Yay!
Hey.
Okay.
Happy Friday.
We did it.
We did it.
Now I have
Good
to figure
solving.
this out. Okay. Okay. I'm going to flip this. Oh, no. I can't do that.
Oh, no.
Okay. Good?
Awesome. Yes, good. Hey. Good to see you.
You too.
Happy Friday. Thank you for doing this. And I will repost it back on the other page so everybody can see it. But this is public, so it should be able to tune in. So we'll just go from here. Thank you for being so flexible.
Oh, I love you, lady. I mean, but seriously, that was hilarious.
I know. You guys, we like went into a little private group and we're like doing it live, testing it out. All right, so let's dive right in. This is kind of a continuation of a call that we have been doing the past 6 months, Focused and Fearless, where we're kind of just chatting with other business owners, and Morgan actually did one of those early on, and it was really fun. Like the live video we thought would be a really fun way to go back and forth and have it be a little more conversational. And so of course my first thought was Morgan, who, for those of you guys don't know her, she's an amazing entrepreneur. She runs a multi-million organization. She also has been a previous blogger, a previous wedding dress designer, and I knew her from high school, and she's also had a lot of other businesses. You are like a total entrepreneur, Morgan, and I just love that spirit about you. So I figured we would dive in. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your story and about your business?
Yes, I would love to. First of all, I have a multi-million-dollar business because of you, Aimee. So Aimee is one of my biggest leaders and amazing, just so much goodness. So thank you for everything that you do for our organization. Okay, so where to start? I mean, I feel like I came out of the womb ready to run a business, and it's kind of hilarious because I just feel so blessed to have a partner who has always supported me in all these different creative endeavors. And they've been exactly what you said, Aimee, like wedding gown designs. I used to have gowns in stores on Wilshire Boulevard, which is right in Beverly Hills in Miami. So just, and in the, in St. Thomas in the Caribbean. And I just feel like I've always loved working with women and using creativity and connection to just make the world a better place. I don't even know how to say that. Like, I feel like we were just freaking out because we couldn't get this video started. But what you said, Aimee, which was this is our job. Like this is what we do for work. I mean, we fake put on makeup because let's be honest. Even my husband was like, "Oh, you're wearing makeup today?" I was like, "Oh, I have a call with Aimee." I mean, secretly, I was almost gonna wear these nice clothes and pajama bottoms.
I definitely have on my yoga pants with my like cute blouse.
I know, it's kind of nerve-wracking on the days where you have to be camera ready and just present and, you know, be a little bit more professional. And I mean, I know that we both love being professional and being poised, but what a blessing when I think about what my day was today. It's just a normal Friday. I woke up, I got a little bit of work done, I went for a walk, came home, and then I totally just got to hang out with our middle child. And that in of itself to me is why like flexibility and freedom of being your own business owner is so huge. Because I just look at her little eyes and I just said, "What do you want to do today? What would make your heart happy?" And she had the most hilarious answers. And so we did it. Like we painted gingerbread cutouts. We read a bunch of books. We circled books in her Scholastic book drive, which was like this huge defining moment because being one of four and my mom stayed home with all four of us kids, I remember getting those Scholastic book things and mom just saying, like, this is just not something that is in our budget, but you guys enjoy looking at them, but it's just not something that we can budget for. And I know this sounds crazy, but I love telling the kids, pick two. And just having the like financial independence like that and being able to just give back to our family in a way, it's pretty cool, I think.
I'm
Although
getting
my
this.
parents did their best
I
with
love
all
that.
those babies.
Absolutely. And by the way, you guys, Morgan and I grew up in the same town. And when you say the Scholastics, you know what they remind me of? And like the Highlights magazine is Dr. Ouija's office. Did you go to
Yes,
Dr. Ouija?
yes, yes,
That was like my favorite part of of his office. So
yes.
that's so sweet. I love that Clover and you had that morning together, and that's absolutely amazing. So what do you say? I feel like you might have just answered my next question, but if you want to like elaborate maybe on other areas too, but what do you feel like is, I mean, you've owned so many businesses and been your own boss for so long. Whereas, like, for me, this is completely new to me. I've always worked for somebody else and had somebody else's schedule and everything like that. What do you feel like is, one of some of your favorite parts about being your own boss and running your own company?
That is such a great question. I mean, I feel like, what do we say? Like, you're my true north, my true compass, whatever. My main goal in life is freedom and flexibility. Because I just cannot really, I don't do well when people tell me where to be at what time and what to do. Like, I am bossy and I do not like to be bossed around. So I feel like, in a way, all these years of owning my own businesses, even dabbling in like acting and modeling and makeup artistry, and even that, just presenting yourself as the package that you are. Like, this is me and this is what I'm selling. Like, there's so much freedom, flexibility, and like independence in that, right? Like, I'm not relying on anybody else. So, what you see is what you get: good day, bad day, great day, sad day? And honestly, don't you sometimes feel, I would assume you can agree with me, if the kids are sick, if you're having like a personal day where you're like, listen, hormones are not like kicking today, and you're just like a hot mess, and you're like, guess what? I don't have to do. I don't have to sit in a cubicle and be like, hi, everybody at work today. No, I mean, we can like hide in our homes and just check in like through a message. And I just love that we are given that flexibility. I'm not going to say that I'm an introvert because every time I take the quiz, I'm just like a little bit extrovert, but I certainly love my alone time and my quiet time and my creative time and my reading and my digging and my research. And obviously, owning your own business gives you the flexibility to sort of do all of that. I just can't even. I can't even imagine working for somebody else. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm sweating just even imagining that scenario because it's been so long. I feel like, okay, so we got married in 2006. So that's how long it's been that I haven't had a boss, other than three small children.
Who, let's be honest, are the boss of the family.
Yes, yes,
That's how
yes,
kids work.
yes.
I love that. I love that. I think that, it's funny because Morgan and I both attended this exec retreat in New Orleans earlier this year. And like, it was such a fun topic that came up. And like, at the beginning I got to jump on stage and present and talk about the the way I opened it up to this room of like all other business owners, like all at this level of doing like what Morgan's doing, what we're doing, and talking about, the freedom and flexibility. You're totally right. Like, to take your kids to a doctor's appointment at the last minute, or take a parent to a doctor's appointment, or that flexibility of setting your own schedule. And I am an introvert, so I can totally relate. Like, everything you're saying, Morgan, I can totally relate to. Like, I think that those are like my two favorite F words I always say about this business, are
Yes,
definitely, yes, freedom,
yes.
flexibility. It's so true. So,
And I was also going to
okay.
say, Amy, like, I feel like
Yeah.
right now, the other thing that we really, we as a family really focus on is just making sure that we live frugally. Okay, how am I going to say this? We don't live beyond our means, and we live frugally. And our biggest thing right now is until our baby Kit, who is 16 months old, until she's in kindergarten, we really want one full-time lead at-home parent. And that is just for our family, and that is what we value. And so this morning, I just said to Walt, take the morning off, because my husband is our full-time lead parent. And I know he wanted to mow the yard and take a good shower. I mean, he is a stay-at-home dad. Like the things that a lot of my girlfriends that are stay-at-home moms, like they're like, I haven't freaking taken a shower in 3 days. Like I get it because A, I've done that before when he was our full-time working parent. And B, now I just know how to love on him differently now that he is in the role that I was in. And it's just so cool to me because he's not a full-time stay-at-home parent and I'm not a full-time working parent. Like it's some like crazy, like some days it's 60-40, some days it's 70-30, some days it's 50-50. Some days Walt is only on 10% and I'm full on 90 with the kids. And that gives him like a day off and a day to decompress and a day to lay in our bed and like read a book. And that to me right now is like our like beacon. It's like where I'm like, this is why I will never ever step away from this business, from this company, because at the end of the day, that income provides that lifestyle, which to me is something you cannot put a dollar amount on.
So true. And Morgan, I love your photos. You guys, if you follow Morgan, if you don't click on her, follow her. Her pictures are amazing. And they do so much. Her son is in kindergarten and these pictures, every picture of like a kid, you know what it's like having a kid in school. Like there's all these events that we go to. And I just always see like you and Walt get to go to both events. Like it doesn't matter if the event is in the morning or in the evening, like because that's a priority to you guys. And because of this flexible schedule, you guys get to both be there. So I totally see that. I see that side for sure. Okay, switching gears then, should we switch to maybe what is the toughest part of working for yourself? And I just want to say, working with Morgan, she is somebody who she is such a problem solver and such a great, like solution driven always for things. And I respect you so much, Morgan, for the way you deal with anything that comes up. And so anyways, I would love to hear what you feel like some of your biggest challenges are, you know, just as far as being your own boss.
Well, thank you for that. I think I started blushing because I know that we have powered through so much in 3.5 years, Aimee. I mean, how much we've grown as business partners and our communication with each other. And I just think like, you know, what does the next 20 years hold for the two of us, like as a team in this, you know? So challenges, wow, there's so many. I mean, I was just messaging with one of my best leaders and I just flat out said, you know what, here I go with all my solutions. Do you actually just need to vent right now? And she's like, actually, yes, I just need to vent. And I was like, okay, the crazy solution lady will like take off her cap and let you vent, because I think sometimes I can be so direct and so solution driven that I forget that in a women-based business that sometimes women just need to vent up, right? They need to vent up to their sponsor, to their upline leader. So that is one of my biggest struggles, is that I'm always like trying to find a solution. And sometimes I just need to let people talk. Not that I hope that I never like talk over anybody, but sometimes I immediately am like, let's try this. What do you think of this? How about this? Are you feeling this? So yeah, that is one of my biggest struggles. The other struggle I think is actually when you are your own boss, you have to every day get up and motivate yourself. And you don't have anybody watching you like do your little time clock stamp. And every day it is up to you. Oh, you okay? You okay?
I wish I could show you guys what's happening on the other side of this camera. We just moved in this house and it might look clean back here, but it is a total mess here. And like one of the boxes slowly just started like tipping off. Sorry about that.
It is so okay. You are amazing. And it does look amazing. Good view behind. Maybe we should both both flip the screen at the end. And then everybody's
gonna be
like,
you are. That's really funny.
They're gonna be like, wow, not so organized. I know, because I know that like what looks behind me right now is rather organized, but I'm like, keep it in this area.
Totally. Even if you go this way towards the counter, you're like not in a good area anymore.
I know. Okay, so
Oh,
struggles. One of the other things is that motivation, right? And so what I tell myself every day is just try to tackle something, because there are some days where you sit down at your computer and you're like, I'm a maniac today. Like, I'm getting so much done, right? And you're like, look at mama work. And you're just so proud of yourself for just like slaying it. And yesterday was one of those days for me. And it tends to be if I have like a slay day, the next day I have a day where it's like decompress, where I'm like,
yes.
be with the kids, be intentional, give Walt a break. So yesterday being the end of the month in sales, it was slay day. So I feel like you just have to find that motivation every day and you have to revisit your business. I mean, honestly, in what, 3.5 years, I'm just gonna say I probably have had like a handful of full days off. Maybe, maybe. I mean, not a
Yeah.
lot of days off, but that might be just like touching in for 5 minutes and just being like, hey, how are you? How are you? How does this look? Okay, that might be what I work in an entire day. So I just think you have to like every day tell yourself, like, why am I doing this? Why am I inspired by this? Why am I passionate about this? What is my mantra for like this week, this month, this day, this year? What are those like action words? Because I shared with my entire organization that 2017 was the year of being bold, right? So that was always like, how can I be bolder? How can I be bolder? How can I be bolder? So
It's
I
so
don't,
true, Morgan. I hear you all the time. Bigger and bolder. I think of you when I hear that phrase because that's something, it is your mantra. I would love it. What other mantras do you find like you really plug into lately?
big.
And also, and I love this topic, like just hearing you talk and like list the motivations, like what type of like, I know you plug into so much, when you do need that in motivation, like podcasts and stuff like that. Like, who are you loving right now? Just because I know that I'm so curious. I always am looking for new people. So, like, what mantras are you loving? What are you loving? Because it feels like you are incredibly inspired, and like
Oh.
I just feel like we all need that motivation and that boost. And so I love hearing what you're plugging into.
Well, thank you. I feel like I am very inspired by you guys, like some of my biggest leaders. I just think in a way you guys keep me on my toes and it's like I always want to be like not like one step ahead of you, but I always want to make sure that I have the words to fill your cup and stuff. So, in a way, I think right now, okay, so let me look. Who am I loving? Mind Your Own Business is an amazing podcast. I am really loving that. I feel like I'm getting so much from that. The Influencer podcast, she's really great. Read to Lead is incredible because this is what I keep doing, you guys. I keep buying books and I keep not reading them. Like Walt, my husband, he probably reads a book or more a week. And he's like, babe, you keep buying books and not reading them. I'm like, I know my nightstand is such like, it's like, it makes me feel like I get like claustrophobic because I haven't even dug into any of them. So we've just come to the conclusion that right now might not be the time in my life to do like proper reading. And I love like Money Magazine. I love Forbes. I love going online for like Business Insider. So I am a business geek. So that is probably where I find my eyes going a lot is more business podcasts and money management books and self-help books. Like on my health journey, just dealing with chronic hives, I've found myself listening to Aimee Meiers. Like she's amazing. So yeah,
Great name.
I know.
I don't even know who I'm having a flashback. You told me about her. I need to look her up, or somebody told me about her recently. That's so funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's really incredible. The whole thing. Okay, so this is something that I'm going to touch in my own branding and how much food plays a massive role in the efficiency and efficacy like of my work. Like, am I going to have an effective and efficient day? sometimes I really look at what have I eaten that day, because if I start my day with an amazing green smoothie and like maybe oatmeal with a ton of nuts and like I don't even know, like whatever it looks like. I mean, sometimes I eat greens and sauteed with like apples for breakfast, you know? But it's so funny when we have those mornings where the kids are like, let's do like our Annie's cinnamon rolls. And I'm like, I'll just have one. And I'm like, oh, I'll have a couple coffees and maybe I'll add some sugar to that. All of a sudden at like 10:30 or 11, I'm like I can feel
Yeah.
my energy dip and drop, and it's no bueno. So to me, I love learning about how health and nutrition, it really does allow us to our brain to work at an optimal level, if that makes sense.
Morgan, it does. And Morgan has the best tips on this stuff. And you guys, I feel like what I plug into so much, Morgan, is you. Like, it's so fun having these videos. And I know you just touched on it, but like you recently like are branded. And I feel like that's such something that is so fun to plug into. So if you guys are looking for something new, I just want to say like plugging into Morgan daily, like, because she goes live on our team pages, she goes live in these mega groups, and it's always like a recharge to me. And so anyways, I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
And by the way, we're getting comments. I'm like trying to read the comments as we're talking, and so many people saying yes, they need something to plug into daily, and that's so important and so helpful to them.
Yeah.
And also Susie said hello. She's watching us from the salon.
Ah, the OG Susie from Rin's Beauty.
Love it. So, okay, awesome. Okay, so I'll get back on task. Okay, this is sort of just a little tangent from that. Like just thinking about the past year, because I know your current business you've been doing for 3.5 years. Is it almost, no, yeah, 3.5 years. And so just thinking about the past year, what is like the biggest challenge you faced and how did you overcome it?
Okay.
I know that's a big question.
It is,
so
that is an amazing question. And although like you, Aimee, and my other massive business partners might be like, what? You guys are crazy, or like, Morgan, you're crazy. But to me, it was making sure that I had vision and that you guys had vision and that we all sort of, it was a cohesive, like, this is where we're going with this. This is what matters. Here's all of our whys. Here's why we're doing it. Here's why we're passionate about working as a group of women together. And I feel like I was a little bit naive maybe those first couple years, just with the insane growth, and you know, it got real, right? Like it got real. Like, okay, I am really doing this. Like this is really our only sole income for our family. And Walt is really not going back to work. This is really not like just a year of him off and home and helping me while I figure this out. This is really my job. And I feel like the last year, just embracing that and actually putting really firm boundaries on media in our family was difficult, but so rewarding. So rewarding.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the boundaries are?
Yes. And you and I are like boundary queens.
I love hearing this. I love it. I know. Well, I mean, yeah, I've been through that struggle, and you always seem to be really good at that balance and at those boundaries. So I feel like any tips, I always love hearing tips from you about this stuff, because this is something that is so, you always have the best tips on. So anyways, I'm like,
well, and it's like so prevalent in our life, especially with our age children, husbands, you know, like I feel like our life stage right now. So, okay. So boundaries. One of the boundaries I have in place is that when I am ready to work, I am ready to work. And so I do not have my phone in our bedroom. I do not check my phone right when I wake up. Like I usually get coffee first. And if I wake up before the family, then that's fine. I sit down at my computer. I read like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Actually, I'm going to show everybody because I never know how we were saying, like what gets you revved up. So here's this amazing, it's called The Illustrated Words of Jesus for Women. It's the tiniest devotional you've ever seen. It's like, boop, like so tiny. You can color if you want. Anyway, so I'll just read this really quickly. And it's just this wonderful reminder of like a bigger purpose. You know, if you're religious, if you're not, if you're spiritual, like whatever that looks like, just take a quick moment in the morning. Sometimes, anyway, I'm getting like way off, but sometimes I'll
No,
stretch.
I
I'll
love
do
it.
like some
Get off.
yoga
You're doing this is
stretches.
so awesome.
I just feel like if you're going to sit down and start working, like be ready for work. Don't be on your phone while your kids are getting breakfast and they're saying like, "Mom, get me cereal. Just a minute." Because like when I realized if this was all my kids were seeing, like this, like how I'd be pissed off too. I'd be like, "Dude, I'm gonna throw a tantrum on your ass right now. Get ready for this one." So like
It's so true. It's so true.
I have never heard my children say like, I pray that they don't. And this is why I have such firm boundaries. Like, they have never said to me, "Mommy, get off your phone." Like, and I am so proud of that. Granted, I have another adult home full time. If Walt was working full time and I was trying to run this massive business, I can just be totally honest. Like, they would probably have a little bit more media. But for us, like it is so important to put boundaries. And, you know, when I'm in my office, the kids know I'm working. They also know that they are welcome to come in the office and there's room for them to color. We have a huge desk that has crayons and markers and coloring books. And so I think it's like having those firm boundaries of like when I'm working, I'm working. When my phone goes up, most days my phone and all my devices shut around 4 or 5 o'clock. And I do not revisit them until the next morning unless I have an event or unless it's the end of the month, you know, because
Right.
then, yeah,
All rules are off then.
yes, like the last day of the month because we're in sales. But we have some really cool things in place. Like there's an alert, we have joined calendars, and there's an alert in our calendar that reminds my husband 2 days before the end of the month that we need takeout that night. Like I don't want him juggling like
That is
dinner.
so
Yeah,
awesome.
so it
I
just
love
alerts
that.
him like easy dinner, right? So whatever that looks like, if that looks like, you know, grabbing sushi for everybody, so we do that a lot. And he knows like he's full on dinner duty the night of the last day of the month. So yeah, I just think placing boundaries on media for us has been one of the biggest. I feel like it's bought us time. I don't know if that makes sense, but these years are going by so quickly. And I feel like with our oldest just starting kindergarten and already half through his year, like we're going to blink and our third is going to be in kindergarten. So I know these are the hard years to just juggle it all, juggle all these little babies and these bathrooms and these pajamas and these teeth brushings and, you know, like making lunches and making breakfast and naps and just all of that. You know, it's crazy, but I just feel like if I can work really efficiently and really effectively when I'm working, and I even place a lot of boundaries when I'm working, which is phone on airport, don't open up Facebook unless I'm working on Facebook, you know, totally tackle, which I learned from you, Aimee, because you read the Three Frogs book, like tackle those tasks that keep moving from to-do list to to-do list. Once you migrate a task 3 or 4 times and you're like, I really don't want to do this task. Actually, that's probably the task that you need to just get done because that's going to be the biggest weight lifted off your shoulders. Don't you agree? I know you can speak into
Totally
that.
true. Eat that ugly frog first. Because that'll be the worst thing you do all day, and your day just, you actually get more productive from it. Like, don't you find that like
Yes.
as soon as you have that done, you like just have that energy to
Mm-hmm.
continue because it's no longer there in front of you.
Yeah, and you know what? I was gonna say, like, one of the other ways, like, just I started a women's small business group here in my hometown, and you do it with your book group.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're all business women. They are all business owners. We meet once a month. It's very small and very intimate. We're toying with the idea of like exploding it out big, maybe meeting at the library or something. But even one of them said, like, how funny what we do with our brain. We know what we need to get done as business women and what's on our to-do list. But you know what? A lot of times we do some days, we sit down and we're like, I'm going to go do the dishes. And you go do the dishes and you come back to your desk and you're like, I'm going to go put in a load of laundry. And you go do laundry, right? You keep doing all these tasks to reward your brain for doing a good job because they're simple, like don't like need a lot of brain power, and you can like reward yourself for getting something done because you don't want to do that task. And I just think you just sit there with that gray cloud and it just follows you for weeks and weeks. And so I just tend to look at my to-do list and be like, I just take a whole day and I'm like, get all the frogs, just get them.
I love it.
It's so hard though.
It is, but you're good at that. You are like the queen of like having a schedule, sticking to it, you know, and really, like you said, like you are do a great job of like tuning out other things, like putting your phone in another room, putting it on airplane mode. I love those tips. I feel like it's something that is scary, to be honest, to a lot of people just hearing it for the first time. If you guys are out there, I've heard this so often from Morgan that I understand it and, it makes sense. If you're hearing it for the first time, it might sound a little scary because I feel like we spend so much time on our phone, like we are on it, when we're in bed and it's the last thing we do. But I don't know, what were you ever like when you first did that transition from like keeping it out of the bedroom so that it wasn't the first thing you did when you woke up in the morning or something like that? Was that a difficult transition for you, or once you ripped the Band-Aid off, was it pretty easy?
I feel like every little movement I've made with placing boundaries with media has been hard at first because I really think it's an addiction.
Yeah.
But every time you step a little bit away and place another boundary, like a couple weeks later, when it becomes routine, you think, this is a little bit more freedom. Like I am being a little bit more authentically who I am. So, I have what I call Facebook flex time, and I have that worked into my calendar where I sit down and just scroll through my newsfeed and I want to like my friends' pictures of their kids starting school and all these cute now like Thanksgiving pictures. And I love Facebook flex time. I tend to do that when my brain isn't most productive, which would be at 8 or 9 p.m. So if Walt like wants to watch like a shoot 'em up show or movie that is not of interest to me, then I'll just be like, hey, I'm just going to go grab the iPad. Like, and I communicate that with him, right? Like, because when we are on the couch at night, which is what we do every night, I just say to him, like, is tonight one of those nights that you want to watch like a shoot 'em up show? Because I totally am like wanting to just like browse Pinterest and be on Facebook and engage with my team and my friends and my leaders. He's like, yeah, I totally want to catch up on Arrow, or I don't even know what he watches. So I feel like Facebook Flex Time still allows me like that creative avoidance and being in the know and catching up, but it also like doesn't deter from truly being an effective like lady boss. But yes, it's never easy, right? It's never easy when that change, when you need that change. But don't you remember when we first started our businesses, I was saying to you guys, I've been working like this in front of my kids and looking down at them saying, go, go, go play, go play. What? No, no, go get a snack. Wait, what are you doing to your sister, right? This is like all they saw. And then I realized, oh my gosh. So then I had this like little light bulb idea. My children would have been like 1 and 3. So I realized, okay, when I tell them mommy has to work, I want it to be a good thing. Because I was always like, mommy has to work, mommy has to work. And I was like, they hated the word work. I could tell them to start just having this like issue because that meant like the phone and you're not paying attention to me. So when I started breaking up our day, even with them that little, and I would say mommy needs to work, it was actually a good thing because what they would get was an amazing snack and we would all sit at the table together and they would watch Daniel Tiger for like, what is it, 22 minutes? And you have never seen fingers fly on a keyboard so fast because I would just be like, brrr. But they felt privileged. And when I said mommy has to work, guess what they would do? Yay! Yay, mommy has to work. Like, do you know, like, how much more incredible that felt than mommy has to work, get off your phone, why are you on your phone, or like pulling on the phone or trying to grab the phone. So sometimes I think that we all battle it, but I don't know, boundaries can be really freeing and really awesome too.
Yes. Yes. It might be scary to rip the Band-Aid off, but I completely agree. Once you do,
Mm-hmm.
it feels good.
It
Yeah.
does, it does.
What do you think is out of the past like 3.5 years of your current business, what has been like the biggest surprise of it all to you? Or just most surprising? It doesn't have to be like overall, but just something that,
Oh, I know. And it is one of those things that it's like I could stand on a stage of like a million people. Everyone's interest, everyone is interested in like direct sales or multi-level marketing or social selling or entrepreneurship, right? They're all interested and you all want to like support small business and that sort of thing. But sometimes a stigma can come with it and judgment and like anyway, just we all know that there's this overlying situation there. And I just think what I could say is that if people look in and they are having those thoughts and like I'm curious and I want to know more, learn more. Because if I could go back and have started like something like this 10 years ago, I just think of the snowball effect that just me saying, yes, I'm going to try this. Like, I'm just going to try this little business to try to pay for a date night once a month. So Walt doesn't have to, we don't have to take that out of Walt's pay. Like, that was my goal. And in a way, this has exploded into something so much bigger than I ever dreamed possible. But the emotional support and connection and the changed lives, like when I think that paychecks in my organization keep electricity on for families, they pay grocery bills. So many children have a more fulfilled, blessed life, like with children's activities, after school activities, Christmas presents, birthday parties, cars. I mean, people have bought their children cars. So, and their own family cars. So I just think all the time about how I was sitting back. I'm just going to be honest, like passing judgment and thinking like, that is a weird line of business. Like, what are those people even doing over there? But I was always curious, like, how does that business work? How do people make money? Is it even like for real? And when I think that I have multiple leaders in my organization that have earned over six figures in a year, like that's incredible. That's incredible. And when I think that after 6 months, I was able to say to Walt, like, who was this massive construction project manager, listen, like, I am making more than you, and this is not a competition, but I don't think we need these two huge incomes. So 3 months later, I said to him, like, do you want to quit your job and come home? Because either I have to hire help, which is not something I'm real wanting to do. And he was like, sure, I'll try it. So I don't know. I just think like, don't pass judgment. Like small businesses are small business, whether they're brick and mortar downtown in your city, whether they're on Facebook. Like this is truthfully, like when I was getting ready for this video, I was just thinking like, I get to just talk with one of my favorite people in the world, which to me, I'm like, what are we doing right now? Like we could do this all day long. It could be the Morgan Aimee show. I mean, come on. But okay, this is my point. Like washed my face with Rebecca Doring's like face wash. Okay. Then I went on to put on Julie Lightfoot's moisturizer. Okay. Then I went on to put on Grace Godinez's under eye concealer. Then I went on to do Kristen's Lukey Westberg's makeup. Then I went on to put on Kelly Waddell's blush. Like when I really like, I could start crying right now. I have chills all over just even saying those 5 names. And those are 5 of 500 women that are in this industry and not in my organization that I've worked with and worked alongside and bought their products. And when I think that those purchases like might have helped their family have a better Christmas, you know me, like I go to Target once every 6 months because I don't care to support Target. I don't care. Like, I don't care to support Target. Like, if there's things that I can purchase from other women that can actually make their family life more stable, make their life more beautiful, allow them to go get an extra Starbucks, like, you better freaking believe I would much rather support a face to that product than, like, go to Sephora or Target and be like, I wonder how rich that person's getting now. I don't know.
It's so true. It's so true. That actually leads to like our perfect last question. I love that because it kind of continues with what you're saying. Like, what would be if somebody is out there and they're thinking about starting their own business, what would be like your biggest piece of advice to them?
I think it would be just to start. And don't start like, because that's what I just did with my branding, right? Like I wanted the perfect website all up. I wanted like everything just done. And I was like, you know
Your
what?
website looks awesome, by the way. It
It's
looks
not even a website
so,
yet. You're so cute.
it's so adorable, you guys, and the pictures look so good, and the logo, it's like all perfection, Morgan. But go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. So it's right now just a placeholder. Mandy Robinson at Squared Studios is working on the full website. And so we just put, you know, like a place card right now and something to hold the space. But I tend to be in the realm of perfectionism, and I think that puts a lot of pressure. And I think a lot of women, potential entrepreneurs and business owners have a lot of that in them. And sometimes I just want to remind them, like, just jump, just do it, just go for it. Just even if it's like, okay, I'm creating these necklaces, like, what do I do? It's like, go into a boutique and just say, hey, I would love to get these necklaces in your boutique. Like, what does that look like for you? You might get a big fat no, but you might get a big fat yes. And you just have to go for it. And I think, like, always remind yourself, if I died tomorrow, would I regret not going for the jump today? Like, right? Because sometimes we just think tomorrow we can do it still. Like, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And it's like, you never know if you jump today, what the goodness that's going to come of that from today, right? And we both know this, especially in our industry, because you know what? You can sit there and you can mull over a decision, and then you see your best friend jump to that same decision and without telling you, and you're like, wow, she just
Yeah.
did that. And I've been thinking about that for months.
Yes.
And you know,
It's
even with branding myself, I've had a lot of people say, I've really been thinking I was going to do that. I can't believe you're doing it. I totally wanted to do that. And quite a few people have said that. And you know, that's one of the things I love, the way that my mom just raised us. You know, she's like, spread those wings, girl. You jump, you jump, you jump, you know? Like just me moving to Australia after college, like to go live with Kate Lewis, who I just knew through my nanny dad and her dad who worked together. I mean, I had never even met Kate Lewis.
I did not know that you guys like had a connection. I thought you just met when you were over there working together. Oh my gosh, I did not know that. So your dad,
My nanny dad, the family that I nannied for in college.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yes. Don Law and Peter Clare, Kate's dad, knew each other through business. Okay. And he was like, Peter was like, oh, my daughter needs a roommate. And Don was like, oh, our nanny is wonderful, and she would like to move to Australia and maybe be her roommate. And so I lived with Kate's family for, gosh, it was probably a month.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
how funny, I did not know that.
And then we got our own apartment. So I'm just saying, like, you have to jump. Like, although when my mom dropped me off at the airport to live in Australia a year, I've like never seen my mom cry very often. She was crying because she was like lovey a year away. But I just think all of those small jumps really do create this like momentum in your heart as a female business owner that just gives you this like courage to make really big jumps, right? Like when, like even at JamCon, you know, where they're like, hey, you're going to speak on stage. I think it's about 1,500 people in the room. And I'm like, okay. So, and I know you know what I mean, right? Like all these small jumps where you just have to go for it.
Yes. My favorite mantra for something like this, if anybody's looking for a mantra to remind yourself when it's ready to jump, is feel the fear and do it anyways. Because I feel like I tell myself that beforehand. And you know, Morgan, you know, when you were saying all this, I think it was such a blessing that when you started this business and you reached out to me about trying it, I just like bought in for the discount. Like, so I didn't weigh a decision heavily because I literally was just buying for the discount. And so it's funny because had I been thinking about this as this huge business opportunity, it would have taken me more than just that one day to be like, let me think about it. I got to think about what my life is like, what direction I'm headed. Like, had I weighed it more, and it's funny, like hearing you talk about this, it makes me realize like it was almost a blessing that it was, for me, it was just like, you know what? I want that discount on this non-toxic product since I hadn't been wearing anything. And it feel like I didn't think about it, because sometimes it's like our thoughts, you just become paralyzed by them, by like the decision.
I agree.
So true.
I agree. And sometimes you just have to like shut the thoughts down and just say, you know what? The rational side of me feels a lot of fear and really scared and really not ready. But the heart side of me is like, you know what? I need to do this, like just to do it. I don't know. It is something I think that innately, like human beings in general, like unless you're like those people, which I love reading about people that really they just don't have fear on a normal human being like level. Like the people that do tight ropes like across the Grand Canyon, like and they're like tightrope walking. And I'm like, I'm gonna vomit just looking at the picture of that. Just things like
Yes.
that where I'm like, that is so crazy town. No fear, huge living, taking chances. Like your life is in the hands of those two pegs on either side of that massive like ravine. So I don't know.
Awesome. I think that is like the best advice. And looking back, if I knew that I was starting a business, like hearing that would just, it's so true. Like jump now. Like
Just jump.
it's so true. Just jump.
Because if you jump and you land and it's good and it's awesome, awesome. If you jump and you skid your knees and you have to pick yourself and dust yourself back up, like you will also figure it out, but you'll never regret jumping. You will
Yeah.
always regret not jumping. You will
Yes.
always, like, you will always be like, what if I would have done that? I mean, because we can all look back and think of the times when we didn't jump. And, like the little repercussions they played like through in our life. And just, although you're at a fork in the road, if you jump this way, things go this way, I just think that sometimes you just have to say, like, what do I always say? Like, there's one turn on this merry-go-round, like, make it count.
I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I don't want to take up too much of your time. And I know we had technical difficulties in the beginning. So thank you for like hanging around for a little bit longer.
Of
I
course.
absolutely adore you and adore everything you do. And maybe if you post in this thread, maybe we can post a link to what you're up to now and what you're doing. And then we can pin it so that anybody who's watching this afterwards can come back and see it.
Oh, that would be awesome. Okay. Thank you,
Cool.
Aimee. Love you, lady.
Love you. Have a good day. Bye,
Bye,
everybody. Thanks for tuning
everybody.
in.